Welcome to another episode of the No Ceilings Podcast. I'm Tyler Metcalf, joined as always by Tyler Rucker. Rucker, how are we doing?
Fantastic, Mr. Metcalf. Glorious day. Feels good to be back. We had a little bit of a breather. You had to take a breather. I'm jealous, and been grinding on some stuff for the draft. So I took a bye week as well, but we're back. It feels weird when we don't do the pod. So we need to. I think that was the last bye probably we're gonna have until after draft day. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. You know, my wife and I took a much needed vacation, and unfortunately for the pod, it lined up where I missed 2 weeks in a row. So you know what? Selfishly, I felt like everyone could deal with that. But I was feeling good when I came back because I immediately wrote something, and it has been ages since I wrote. I've been lazy on that end. Thank you to the team. Shout out for carrying my freeloading butt so far these last couple months. But Boogie Fland, good at basketball.
Good at basketball. Still a big fan of Boogie Fland. It's funny when you say, like, hey, I've really been slacking writing, when it's like, oh, so you didn't write 1 week out of all of the months. So you usually write every week because you're a maniac. So no, I mean, I think this has been an important year for us to recharge the batteries, swallow some pride and be like, hey, we need to take a break while we still can be it. But that time is over. We will be bringing the heat the rest of the cycle. So I'm pumped, Metcalf. Beautiful time of the year too. Very fun.
Spring is in the air. Content's on the way. You love to see it. But other than my Boogie Fland piece, it's up at NoCeilingsNBA.com. Go check it out. The team at large put up a ton of great stuff so far this week. Steven wrote about Yegor Demon, and then Ignacio had one of my favorite pieces about how college teams can kind of find value across the country and what states and strategies are kind of the best to look at. It was really, really interesting, something very different than what is typically up at the site. Make sure to go check that out if you haven't read it yet. JT Toppin piece by Rowan Kent. Really good stuff there. JT Toppin is having himself a year, and I believe he went off against Baylor again tonight. That game is going on while we're recording, but a lot of really good stuff up at the site as always, and some really, really fun stuff coming out on the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, shout out to everyone. They've really been grinding. Everyone's kind of getting the juices flowing right now. They know what's around the corner, so everyone's kind of getting pumped. There's a lot of great pieces this week. Ignacio's been grinding on that one for a while. I feel like he was in the lab for a couple of months, and he was kind of asking me what I thought about it, and I was like, "Ooh, it's so fun when we have someone on the team that's kind of like, they're down a rabbit hole, and you're like, oh, you're in a good spot. You're having fun with this." So it was cool to see that kind of come to the surface fully, and man, it was a great topic, and he kicked ass with that one. So shout out to everyone. I thought the Yegor piece, Rowan's been kicking ass too, and Metcalf with the Boogie Fland. We love it. So fun time of the year, Metcalf. Fun time, and everyone's cooking.
And we got a chock full episode today. So we're just going to kind of run. It's conference tournament time. It's March Madness time. The big dance is right around the corner. So we felt like it was a good time to just kind of point out who are some of the biggest stars that you should be kind of focusing on, and then some maybe sleepers we'll touch on those teams as well. We're not going to dive into kind of sleepers on teams that aren't going to make the tournament. That's for a later date. We got a whole couple months after the tournament to do all of that stuff, but it's tournament season, so we kind of wanted to focus on some of the bigger names to keep an eye on, and some of the matchups that are coming up, teams that are trying to play their way into it. Also, Selection Sunday, we will be going live after that, reacting to the bracket, winners, losers, our favorite matchups, running through the bracket, game by game, player by. I'm kidding, not all of that, but big picture stuff, and what to keep an eye on. I feel like to start this out, though, we got to start with the ACC, with the biggest star in college basketball, who unfortunately got hurt today. Let's start with Duke, Cooper Flagg. Names to kind of keep an eye on. The big ones, the big three, Cooper Flagg, Con Knippel, Kaman Malawach, a couple kind of sleepers who could see their names really rise throughout the draft process. Isaiah Evans, Zion James, Tyrese Proctor. are probably the three who could really kind of rise up boards here. But Cooper Flag, Con Knipple, Kaman Malawach, the big ones that are probably all lottery bound.
Yeah, I mean, those are the big three that everyone's going to be keeping an eye on. The Flag injury today was like absolutely terrifying. It looked like it couldn't have been worse. I watched every second of it. I'm watching like they immediately split screen to like you're just a camera on Cooper Flag with the trainer, and then the game's going on. And I was like, this is incredible because I just am only watching what's going on with the trainer. Then the trainer gives the sign to like, hey, let's have two people carry back. And I was like, oh man, this keeps getting worse and worse. And then there was the shot of him in a wheelchair, and I was like, well, everyone's going to overreact to that, but that's smart because they're not making him walk at all. Sounds like X-rays were negative. I hope he doesn't play another game until the tourney, if he does. I'm still very, very excited to watch this team. I think I'm more excited for the sleepers. I think this is a big run for Isaiah Evans. I think Sion James is making a little bit of a buzz right now, and he could really take advantage of this. I've always been very intrigued when you're, listed at 6'6", 220, and you built like the Hulk out of the backcourt. You're going to be a fun piece. So, what about you, Metcalf? I mean, is it Con Knipple time to really cement himself as a top 10 pick right now? Like he has. I thought today when Cooper went down, I said someone needs to make a statement right now. Like it needs to be Malawach, it needs to be Con, it needs to be someone that's just like, okay, big boy's out, it's my time. And Con, man, woo! So I think he really could take advantage of this right now.
Yeah, and Duke should sit. I expect Flag to sit throughout the ACC tournament. Hopefully he can come back for the big tournament. But the way he was moving, it was kind of tricky. So Duke's title chances may have gone out the window with that, unfortunately. But Con Knipple is, I think, the name to watch. He's kind of been locked in that top 10 range for me for a while. I think he absolutely rocks. He was a guy that I was really skeptical on kind of mid-year, where start of the year I was really fascinated by the shooting. He wasn't shooting it great, but he was kind of passing, getting to the rim, playing really physical. The defense surprised me. But everything kind of looked difficult for him in terms of on-ball creation. And then as the year progressed, it all slowed down for him. He started leveraging his strength a little better. The passing started improving and popping even more. And all this time, I just kind of had to keep reminding myself, it's like he's going to be a shooting guard. And he has way more on-ball creation right now than he will likely ever be asked to have in the NBA. So when you kind of balance out those scales a little bit, it's like, all right, the shooting's probably going to only get better. Plus, he has all this second side creator ability now, too. And now we're probably going to see him in even more of a primary creator role. It's an incredible opportunity for him to showcase so many different little skill sets that he probably wasn't going to be able to fully do given their current context.
Big opportunity. Completely agree. He's had the quietest, like his last 11 games, not including today. He dropped, I think, 28 and 8 assists. Before that, he was having the quietest 11-game stretch of shooting 54, 46, 97 and averaging 15 a game that I can remember. Like it was just, he's kind of understood his role. He's done it at an efficient clip. And I think this is going to shock some people now. Like with how he's going to be a bucket getting machine right now. He's going to really remind everyone or introduce himself to some that are like, oh, he's just going to be a specialist. Like, Con you can feed him and let him go to work, and it's going to be fun to watch. But now it might be more challenging for other teams now. I guess Cooper Flag's out. I understand what I just said, but now, okay, what's your defensive strategy? Like, are you going to throw, like, they can space the floor a little bit more now with more shooters around? So I think Con's got a big opportunity. I think the other guys have a big opportunity to kind of step up.
Yeah, and Con is kind of tricky because he's not going to be like creating a ton of space or super explosive. He's really strong. He's methodical. He's composed, and he plays off of 2 feet really well. So it's like the windows that he's creating are small ones, but he doesn't need a massive amount of space to kind of get a shot off or to spray the ball all over the court. I do think that this flag injury does open up a huge opportunity. Isaiah Evans was the name that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
He's the guy that has to step up here. And if he does so, he's probably going to make himself a ton of money. We saw today in that Georgia Tech game, we've seen it all year, that when he gets hot, there aren't many better microwave shooters and scorers in the league in an off-ball context than him. And we saw it against Georgia Tech, where they were really packing the paint, really collapsing on everything. And then once he kind of got hot early in that second half, they had to respect it. They had to spread out their defense a little more, and it opened up everything. So if he can get hot, have a scorching couple weeks here, or a couple games, or however long their season goes, he's probably going to end up as a first-round guy.
Yeah, I think he's going to skyrocket. I think this is a rocket ship that's been waiting to go supersonic speed. Like I feel like Isaiah Evans is the one name right now I think could just take advantage of. We're waiting for this 20 to 35 range. I feel like we're just waiting for guys to get up there and kind of be like, okay, here's the run of guys that are going to be up there. I think Isaiah Evans, Alex Condon of Florida. I wish he was at Arizona. Florida is going to be another one, but I think Evans is the next one. He's going to be a lengthy shooter that gets red hot. Teams love that. So I think I agree with you. That's a great one. I think he's got the most to take advantage right now. Like this little stretch right here is a big, big opportunity. And these guys are going to know it. They're going to be like, hey, they're going to ask me to shoot more. Fantastic. Like this is a big, big opportunity to showcase.
And I think it's a really good opportunity for Kaman Malawach to really cement himself as like the premier, no doubt about it, elite rim protector in this class, because with Cooper always lurking from the weak side, he's able to be a little more aggressive. He's able to kind of play up at the level of the screen. They're able to mix up their coverages a little bit, but without Cooper out there, it's going to be really interesting to see if they kind of employ that same strategy. Malik Brown also got hurt today, which is a huge blow. So it's going to be a lot of Mason Gillis and Isaiah Evans. So they're not going to have that same level of weak side rim protection and off-ball defense where Cooper Flagg's patrolling the entire weak side on his own. So I'm really fascinated to see kind of how they shift up their coverages, if at all, and how much Kaman Malawach can still really control the paint.
So they play North Carolina tomorrow, huh? I hadn't looked at the schedule. Yes. They played North Carolina tomorrow. So North Carolina is going to be very pumped up because they're going to be like, we know Cooper shouldn't be playing. Like
and they just got their ass kicked.
Yep. So,
well, moving on to North Carolina.
Wait, they just won, right?
Who's on the? Yeah, I'm talking about last time they played. Duke.
Oh, yes. I was like, no, that math doesn't check out if they're playing tomorrow and they lost. Okay, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry,
but North Carolina's still on the bubble. I think they're like one of the last 4 in or something like that. They might need to win out. Huge game for them. Ian Jackson, Drake Powell, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of love on Seth Trimble. I think those are the kind of names to keep an eye on. Trimble's more of like a X10 two-way potential guy. Ian Jackson, Drake Powell, 2 big names, put up 2 big stinkers against Wake Forest here today. It's been rocky, but I think Ian's probably for sure going in the draft. Powell, who knows?
I have no idea. I mean, I think what I think is the opposite's gonna happen. So I think Ian's gonna go.
Yeah.
I think Drake should probably stay, but we'd never know with these guys. Like it's the 1 year guys. It's the situation guys where NBA teams are like, it's okay. We know it wasn't a great fit. We still love them. We still are going to draft them high. Like, personally, I've got them a little bit both lower. I would love Ian like as a late first rounder if I was like a smart team. Like if I just be patient, but we'll see. I would love them to get a little hot for the tournament and make it a little bit more fun.
It's either where Ian Jackson's going to take over the game and look incredible, or he's going to be non-existent. Drake Powell will probably play really good defense and not contribute much of anything on offense. Unfortunately, that's how that kind of has gone for most of the season with those 2 guys. Outside of that, there's not a whole else to kind of really keep an eye on in terms of draft perspective. Clemson, they're about to tip off while we're recording this. You can keep an eye on Victor Locken, Chase Hunter, maybe. Cal got eliminated earlier. They won't make the tournament, but Andrei Stojakovic had an incredible game against Stanford. I think he needs to return for another year and really get those shooting numbers up. Speaking of Stanford, they won't make the tournament either. They just lost to Louisville by 2 points tonight, just before we hopped on here. So that's kind of a bummer. But Maxime Reynaud, like 7'4" center, floor spacing center, can put it on the bounce, attack the rim a little bit, decent athlete. If you're going back to watch games, that's one to keep an eye on. Wake Forest, Hunter Salas had an awesome game today, but they got eliminated by UNC. Probably won't make the tournament either, but that's kind of the only other name to potentially keep an eye on if they do make it in.
Well, I'll have a couple finals season highlights videos on the YouTube of a couple of those guys. Reynaud for sure. Salas, if I'm just really in a vibe on one night. Those are some fun names. Reynaud's one of those guys I love, and every time I look up his numbers, I just am like somehow surprised. They're even more impressive than I'm expecting. So I got nothing else. The North Carolina guys, every time I think of them, they bug me.
Yep.
Because I want them to be so much better, because it would just be like a fun, and I still believe in the talent, but it's just such a weird situation. So I'm sorry, I'm just rattled now because I don't know what to do with them. They're the two guys I have no idea. Like I consider not even having Drake on my last board.
Mm-hmm.
That's how frustrated I am. And then I'm like, what am I doing? He could still get drafted. He's still a heck of a talent, but go ahead.
No, that's all I got on the ACC. Let's move on to the SEC after a real quick break. All right, moving on to the SEC. I feel like we got to start with the regular season champs, Auburn. They play Ole Miss on Friday. Top name in that matchup is Janiah Broome, potential player of the year in college basketball.
Not Baker Mazar.
Chad Baker Mazar is another one, but he's apparently looking to come back to celebrate his 28th birthday on campus again. Tahad Pettiford is probably I think their second best actual NBA prospect. Keep an eye on Dylan Cardwell, kind of a fun flyer. But also in that Ole Miss game from Ole Miss, Matthew Morrell and Malik Dia is kind of deep cuts. But I think Janiah Broome is the only one who has legit first round potential. Is
there a betting site that has over under on Baker Mazara technical fouls during the tournament?
He'll play like an angel through the conference tournament unless they play Alabama again, and then it'll get a little chippy.
His gloves off.
But third round matchup, I bet he gets at least one in the.
I can't believe they're going to give him another year of eligibility. That's incredible.
Move on.
Yeah, move on. Get a job. Janiah Broome's going to be a fun one to monitor. I still think he could create a little bit more buzz. Everyone always can create some buzz with a deep tournament run. It's not that we agree with that, but we just know how the beast works, and I think they're going to play for a while. Conference tournament, yes, they're going to be awesome to watch. They're always awesome to watch just because they're such a loose cannon. You never. Auburn's like really good. Broome's fantastic as a college big man. They've got a great little roster of just everyone meshes pretty well. I really want to see Pettiford in the conference tournaments, in the big tournament. I want to see what he can do because I think he could create some noise and be kind of one of the tournament darlings that we just all are talking about. He's got that potential.
Especially if he kind of the shooting consistency kind of comes back around. It feels like he's gotten really streaky on that part of his game recently. But the playmaking, the handle, the on-ball creation, there have been some like really solid defensive flashes from him. I mean, he's tiny, so there's certain limitations he has on that end of the floor. But the offensive creation upside, if he incorporates a little bit more consistency there too, which maybe comes in his sophomore year. Really, really fun player, but in terms of stars and first round potential, Broome is the guy. Yeah. All right. Texas, Trey Johnson is the
Love
name.
him.
They're still on the bubble, so if they beat Tennessee on Friday, that'd be a huge win and probably get them in for sure. But huge win today. That was an ugly, I think it was a double overtime game.
They were double OT yesterday too, right?
I think so.
Or they went 1 OT? I was about to say, like, did they just go 4 OTs in 2 days?
That sounds exhausting.
Or maybe I'm thinking of Rutgers went double OT, right?
Yeah, Rutgers went double. Yeah,
I think
Texas was regulation. Against Vandy.
Sorry. Tells you where I'm at right now. Every game's one combined, one big game.
Yeah, but Trey Johnson's the biggest name to keep an eye on. He's a top 5 guy for me. Today was a little rough, a little inconsistent. I think it was more of a shot selection issue, but that's kind of been there all season. One of the best scorers in the country, both on and off ball. The passing really popped today for stretches too, but it's that kind of second half of the second half and on, he just went ice cold.
I don't even know if I'm even worried about the shot selection right now. And what I'm saying is, like, the team is so bad. I'm sorry, Longhorn faithful. I'm sorry. The team is bad. And, like, he has to, like, they ask him to just carry him. Like, he's fantastic. He's a top 5 guy for me, too. He's unreal. Every time I watch him, he does something. I'm like, my goodness, this kid is so damn good. So, yeah, I know, like, you'd love the shooting efficiency numbers to be great, but he still just makes some plays every game that you're like, oh my gosh, he's the best guy on the court by far.
Yeah.
It's not close. So, yeah, I hope he makes the tournament. There's another guy that could just absolutely go on a heater, and we're like, why is Texas still dancing? But, yeah, I mean, do you continue to be impressed with him as a prospect, Metcalf?
Yeah, I don't have any concerns because it's like the shot selection in this context, it is what it is. I don't really care. He's a hell of a shot maker, arguably the best in the country. And I know he's way more of a passer than people still want to give him credit for. He's a really, really smart passer when he needs to be, uses his shooting gravity to create for others. Not a primary playmaker, not a primary creator. I can't emphasize that enough. I'm not saying he's a number 1 offensive option, number 1 scoring option potentially down the road. But in terms of a creator, second side guy, more of that true traditional shooting guard, that's what he projects as. He isn't Cam Thomas. Enough with that. He has like double the assists that Cam Thomas had in college. So much, much, much better, more accurate, more willing, and smarter passer than Cam Thomas has ever shown. A couple other names to keep an eye on in that Texas-Tennessee matchup. Arthur Kaluma, maybe flyer, but he's had a solid year. And then from Tennessee, Chaz Lanier, who I think is one of the best, just pure off-ball scorers in the country, and Igor Milicic, 2 guys who could potentially go kind of second round, Exhibit 10, 2-way type of guys.
Lanier will be an interesting one. I'm right there with you. If you can shoot it, teams will be interested. So, I think they can have a little run too, and he can help us stock. But yeah, that's all I got.
Moving on to Oklahoma, number 1 with the bullet, Jeremiah Fears. So Oklahoma is playing Kentucky, I believe, while we're recording this. That's going to be a really, really fun matchup. Probably going to be D'd up by Lamont Butler all night. Probably a little bit of Otega Owe as well. They may have done, I really hope they did enough to get into the tournament. They may need this Kentucky game, but we'll see. But Jeremiah Fears is without a doubt the guy to keep an eye on.
I had to get this question. Sorry for the delay, Metcalf, but we had a good question. Do you think Celtics Ray Allen / Allen Houston are realistic outcomes for Trey Johnson? I would say yes.
People keep sleeping on how good of an athlete Ray Allen was.
No, that's why they said Celtics Ray Allen.
Oh, didn't miss that part. I was ignoring you. So.
You get really, really pumped up about the Ray Allen thing that you just. I've told you Ray Allen once, and I was like,
first love. He's my first favorite player of all time.
I literally, the first time I brought up the comparison, I was like, freshman year Ray Allen. You're like, he was really bouncy. I was like, as a freshman, he wasn't, and then. We're talking. Someone just said, "End of career Ray Allen." He's way bouncier. Okay, calm down. Yes, I think that was a good one. Back to Fears. Go ahead.
I like the Brandon Roy one for Trey Johnson.
Brandon Roy's a good one, but I like Ray Allen. I think that was a great one. I'm gonna get rid of Metcalf for Ray Allen jersey. Just have the last name bouncy. Jeremiah Fears, man. Jeremiah Fears. I think we're back. I think we're all the way back.
Like he should go back for his sophomore year.
No, I think we're back as in like where we were months ago when we were like, is this a top 7 guy?
Who left?
I never left. I just went on vacation for a couple of weeks. Cut my stock. Man, he's been so much fun. I watched their last game. Man, that was a fun one. If you're a draft fan, that Oklahoma Georgia game had some. I was in a dangerous place. I had Hasten Newell having almost a 2020 and Jeremiah Fears going berserk. So yeah, that was a good one. I love him. I think there's no doubt he should be in this draft. He should be a top 10 pick.
Yes. I'm not sure there's many point guards who have the upside that he does, and he should still be a senior in high school. Doing this as a freshman point guard.
Yep.
Is insane. Doing this as a freshman point guard who reclassified is even more insane. These guys are never good as freshmen. And he has been absolutely bonkers. He's so much
so
fun.
ahead of his. Go ahead.
Just the game is so goddamn slow for him. Like, I know he turns it over and stuff, but he has to create so much, and his handle and his creativity and ability to improvise on the spot. It's really, really special stuff. And I buy the shot when you kind of just imagine who he could grow into in 2 years, in 3 years, in 5, 10 years. There's some really incredibly fun and really high outcomes for him.
He's so far ahead of his developmental curve.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. That's why I think teams are going to be so excited. Is like, yes, he had 5 turnovers in the first half yesterday. He was having a really good game and had 5 turnovers in the first half. I was like, oh man, he needs to tighten it up. I think he almost finished with 30 and he had 5 turnovers at the end of the game. So awesome. Hey, I got to take care of the ball and focused on it. And those are I like the passes he's trying to make because it's you'll learn from that. We've talked about him before, so I don't want to go too in detail, but you can always pull the reins to slow someone down. You don't want to have to get him pumped up, but he's young. He makes these mistakes. It's just so incredible how far ahead he is of where he should be. Doing this in the SEC his usage has got to still be skyrocketed.
Here, I'll give you the list of.
I knew it. See, I knew how to get you going. I was like,
I'll give you the list of freshmen who have a higher usage rate than him. Okay, cool, good talk. No, he has the highest.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Among freshmen in the country.
How much higher than a Flags?
I think it's a full percentage point now.
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous.
And that
anyways,
may have changed. Hold on. Let me pull up.
I thought you would have had this page bookmarked. I know all the trigger points to get you rolling about.
Jeremiah Fears is at 31.9. Cooper Flag at 30.4. Mr. Dean from South Carolina State.
The best name.
Upstate, is at 31.4. They're the only ones over 30 as freshmen.
Mr. Dean needs to be a breakout star next year because it's the best name.
Yeah.
Ever. Would be fantastic. So go ahead.
In that Kentucky matchup that will tipping off later tonight on Thursday night, Otega Owe, Lamont Butler, Amari Williams, Jackson Robinson, Kobe Brea, just some deeper cut names to keep an eye on. Anything else on either of those teams for you?
I like Otega Owe. It's one of those sleepers I can never stop loving. He's been playing fantastic for Kentucky. I'm really interested to see him throughout the pre-draft process. That would be a guy I would not want to scrimmage against or work out against. No one will want to work out against him. And those guys are always very fun to hear about when it's everyone's dodging Otega. No one will go to that work. He'll be that guy. So I'd take a flyer on him in the second round for sure. Those are one of those gritty guys that just find a way to make the roster somehow. So at least a 2-way. Absolutely would take him for a 2-way, but
and then just kind of sticking with just a few more of the stars in the conference. Colin Murray Boyles, we unfortunately won't see any more of. Please, God, do not come back to South Carolina. Go pro like you should have last year. But they got eliminated by Arkansas. He had an insane insane game. He tried to single-handedly will them to that win and to that comeback. He's a top 10 guy. If he falls out of the lottery, I'd be shocked. But I know some NBA people are perplexed by him. And then Asa Newell, they'll likely make it in. They're kind of on the bubble a little bit, but they got eliminated by Oklahoma, so we won't see him again until the tournament. But again, another really excellent game against Oklahoma.
I wouldn't be shocked if Murray Boyles goes outside the top 10.
It's
or lottery.
His measurements are going to be
that's why
crucial. I've had a lot of like, what is he defensively? Who can he guard? What does he do on offense? Like I've heard a lot of skepticism over his 6'7" listing.
Yeah, I think everyone's confused. No one knows what to do, which is not a good sign. But
because if he was 3 inches taller, he would be top 7. Or if he had more of a proven shooting sample, he'd be top 7.
Yeah, I think
he doesn't have either of those things. So
if he was going to measure at 6'9", I think he'd be a top 7 guy. I think he's going to measure closer to 6'6", 6'7". But
yeah,
saw what Charles Barkley did at 6'4", so that's all I got to say. Moving on. Who else did you say? I'm sorry, the last name.
Just Asa Newell.
Yeah, Asa's coming off a big game. I think the only thing with him is I just want to see the boards. Just want to be battling on the boards, but I still am a big fan.
Just had like 20 rebounds.
No, before that, it was like a couple games where he had like 5 or 6, and then last night he puts up 17, and I'm like, now we're cooking, Asa. Here we go. We can shut the haters up. I'm a big fan of Asa. I think me and Rich, shout out Mavs Draft, might be the only 2 members remaining in the Asa Newell fan club, but we're going down swinging.
I have him as a lottery lock.
Oh, you wanted to kick him out of the green room 3 episodes ago.
No,
so
I just asked a question.
People don't forget.
I just asked a question. And then he's been excellent since then. So, I lit a fire. He was listening. You're welcome, Georgia. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Go Bulldogs. Yeah. So I'm still a big fan. I think Ace is going to be a fun one to watch too.
Agreed. Some other names to just kind of keep an eye on throughout this tournament season. From Arkansas, Adu Thiero is probably the only guy in this year's class, but long term, I really like Billy Richmond and Kevin Knox. Really, really intriguing guys as big time sophomore breakouts. Alabama, LeBaron Philon, they play the winner of Oklahoma and Kentucky on Friday. They'll be in, so we'll get to see them throughout this weekend. And going forward, Philon, I have no idea what he's going to do. Mark Sears, Grant Nelson have been kind of fun, but their stock is significantly dropped from last year.
Okay. Can we just say it's just we're gonna curveball this episode and just say it's for the tournament season? I like how you phrased that. I keep going back and forth of like, wait, conference tournaments and then the big tournament. Let's just say we're just talking about the teams. Okay. So I don't get confused. Thanks. Appreciate it. I'm a big fan of all of these guys. I kind of want Oklahoma and Bama to win so that I think Fears had his first bad game against Philon and them. Might be a little revenge game. I'd love that. Who else did you just say? You said someone else.
Just Arkansas is out.
Arkansas, really like Billy Richmond. Very, very excited for Billy Richmond year 2. If he learns
how to shoot at all next year.
So much fun.
Because they put him in more of like kind of like a playmaking point guard-esque type of role once Boogie went down. It was fun. It wasn't always good, but it was fun. And man, that dude is competitive and defends his ass off.
I've seen a clip of like Calipari giving a post-game interview like in the tunnels, and I think he was like yelling like, Billy, calm down. Like so I was like, oh, so Billy's a madman. I'm all in. Psychopath. I love it. So I'm all in. I think the Arrow might be like not playing. He didn't play last game. I think he's banged up enough to where they're like, maybe he's not going to play.
Yeah, and I think they were sitting him for the conference tournament, but they lost today, so he's going to have almost a full week off.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with him. I still love him, and then every time it's like he doesn't play for a while, I'm like, just run off of vibes right now and got blinders on. But yeah, that's all I got there. Anyone else for you?
Then just Florida's the last kind of major team. They're playing the winner of Missouri and Mississippi State on Friday. Those 2 teams are currently tied as of recording. Alex Condon is the big name to keep an eye on here. If he has huge tournament season, he'll probably be a first rounder. If not, if he struggles a little bit, if it's a little inconsistent, the shot isn't there, gets in foul trouble, whatever, it wouldn't shock me if Florida throws a bag at him to stay. And then some older guys like Walter Clayton, Will Richard, Elijah Martin, just guys to keep an eye on as deeper cuts.
Condon's a fun one. I think I don't even know if he's a wild card anymore. He's just the ultimate, like, every NBA team's kind of waiting to see. Everyone's buzzing about him. Like every team was going to go see him. Everyone's like, ooh, 6'11" sophomore that has got a little bit of versatility. Who did they just play? And man, was he impressive. Was that the Bama game?
I think so.
I think it was Bama, but he made some plays. I even had a buddy that texted me that's a former hooper, and he's like, Condon's unbelievable. I was like, okay. Yeah, usually no. He's having a good game if I'm getting texts like this from my buddies, but I just know every team's kind of waiting to see. And if they have a deep run, Gavoni had him, 20 today on their updated mock draft. Shout out, Jonathan. I think No Ceilings has a mock draft coming out as people are listening to this. We had him make a big jump too as well. So I like him, Metcalf. I'm just trying to see how long Florida goes because I know he might be the guy that takes advantage of that 20 on range that we're talking about.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else on the SEC names to keep an eye on? Anything like that?
No. DJ Wagner, no love?
Not this year.
Yeah, maybe next year.
Okay.
Moving
on. Moving on to the Big 12. Let's start with Houston. They play BYU Friday night. Names from Houston: JoJo Tugler, Milo Suzan, Emmanuel Sharp, and then BYU, obviously, Yegor Demon, Richie Sanders, Cannon Ketchens. Probably not this year, but, they're fun.
Houston's, I'm realizing, started getting a little bit more guys that might be buzzing than I realized at first. Emmanuel Sharp's a good one. Shout out on that. I need to catch up on his stuff.
He's fun. Like, he's kind of small, but he's strong, shoots the crap out of the ball in defense.
It's usually a good recipe right there to somehow get drafted. Uzan, someone that's started a buzz again. Need to catch up on his stuff. I need to catch up on a lot of Houston stuff. It happens every year where I feel like we don't have a lot of Houston prospects, and then at the end of the year, we're like, oh, there's 4. we didn't realize, but there's 4 guys that might get drafted. So it's always fun to catch up on those. BYU, BYU is just the weirdest thing because Yegor is playing and not putting up big box scores, and they just can't stop. They have forgotten how to lose. They literally can't stop winning. I think they've won 9 straight. Richie Saunders is playing outstanding. Catchings didn't play today, but they're cooking at the right time. So it'll be really interesting.
Yeah, so let's talk about Yegor a little bit because he is the guy to watch. Yeah. 6'9", high feel, incredible playmaker, 0 scoring instincts. Questionable shot. The last time or when they played Houston,
I don't think 0 instincts. I'm sorry. I have to back him up a little bit. People want him to be a killer. He's just turned 19. He's from another country. He's rail thin. Like, I'm patient.
Okay, can he take more shots per game than Richie Saunders?
No, because Richie's a better shooter. He's smart enough to know, like, this guy's a much better scorer than me.
Sure, but when he gets to the lane, can he take a layup? I feel like I'm not asking for much.
I watched the game in which he took multiple layups and hit them, and it was fantastic.
Fantastic, good for him. I'm proud of him. He's 6'9".
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think people are just. I get it. There's times where I'm like, oh, he should have shot, but like I watched the game where he was aggressive. I just don't think he doesn't have that consistently right now. I think he's a little bit more of like, hey, but this guy. You know how like Castle had that when we were watching him at UConn where you're like, just shoot it. And he would like wait and then try to pass it for someone where it's like, oh, let me get a better shot. I think Yegor has a little bit of like too unselfish sometimes where you're like, just fucking shoot the layup. Like just go get fouled.
My counter to that is Castle was arguably the best perimeter defender and on a team that literally just won the fucking national championship.
He had some help
on the bubble of getting in the tournament. He had guys to defer to.
Do you think Jaeger would have been good on the UConn team? Do you think he would have been good
I think Castle
lobs
would have
to
taken more
7-2
than
guy?
5 shots a game on this BYU team.
I hope so. He's going to win Rookie of the Year. But anyways, what I'm getting at is I like him. I have cooled a little bit. I get why NBA teams love him. The playmaking in person was way more impressive than I was expecting.
And that's a sales pitch.
It
was at that size.
It was ridiculous. I was just, and he is just constantly like communicating, telling everyone where they need to be on both sides. He's pointing out nonstop. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like this dude's like very vocal defensively, even. But I get it. So like, so bring me back to earth. Like I know the Jaeger thing is frustrating me though, because I'm with everyone. Like you want to see more. I don't want to see the box scores of 3, 3, and 4. Mm-hmm. Like, come on. But then you get Richie Saunders, who's cooking right now, and the rest of the team's playing good. So it's like, I don't know.
So my bigger issue, because I point out, kicking out of every layup is hyperbole. But my issue is that even when they're getting smoked or losing, he's still not trying to take over, even when those guys aren't knocking down shots, even when, he's made his 8th driving kick where he's collapsing the entire defense and kicking out to a wide open corner 3, and the guy bricks it for the 5th time in a row. He's going back to it every single time. And there just doesn't seem to be that kind of killer instinct or that switch that he can flip of, all right, shit, I got to go get some buckets right now. So I think this matchup is going to be fascinating because Houston's obviously one of the best defenses in the country, as they always are. The last time they played them, BYU lost by 30. Jaeger went 1 for 6 with 3 points. He cannot repeat that.
Jaeger is becoming Two-Face. Like you don't know which guy you're getting until like first couple minutes in the game. But I'm saying like I've watched all the games where he struggles, and I'm like, I watched him in person against Arizona, and he was like getting downhill, aggressive, like kind of like pissed off at times, like just trying to pump people up. I was like, where's this guy been? So it's like, but this is also like him as a prospect before this year. I feel like we talked like he's so inconsistent where it's just like, that's true. You don't know which side of the bed he's waking up on. And when you get like the prick version, I'm trying to be PG-13. When you get like the prick of a version of a player, like I think there's 2 versions of Jason Tatum. There's the cool step back guy that just wants to do that, or there's the downhill, I'm a prick, I'm going to get to the basket and create and distribute and be physical. Jaeger, you don't really know what you're getting. Like he doesn't have that strength to always just bully you, but like that Arizona game, I at least saw him try to get downhill, try to finish around the basket. And I was like, okay, at least you're trying to do this. This is good. He hit like 3 tough layups, missed a couple, but I remember the Houston game, and it's going to be interesting because he should be ready. He should be expecting it, but it's tough because he was skinny, very skinny in person.
Yeah.
But very tall. So it's just tough.
All right. Let's move on to Baylor. No more of them this weekend. They just lost to Texas Tech by 2. But VJ Edgecombe, Baylor should be in the tournament. VJ Edgecombe's the name to keep an eye on against Tech. He just finished up with 11 points on 4 of 13 shooting, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Very fun number. 2 steals, 1 block. But VJ's the name to the really only guy this year on Baylor to keep an eye on. Robert Wright's kind of fun for a down the road type of guy. VJ's the star though. And then that Texas Tech team, they'll be in. JT Toppin had another monster game. Darian Williams and Christian Anderson is really fascinating for next year.
Yeah, I like the Texas Tech team always keeps sleeping on me. Where do you have Jaeger, by the way?
13.
Okay. So we're in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
You probably thought I still have him like at 8. I have him like 14. No. So
yeah.
Like anyways,
fringe lottery,
Yeah,
because I mean, like once you get to a certain point in this draft, it's like, all right, am I going to take the older kind of role player who I know I'm going to get minimum solid rookie contract out of?
Yes.
Or am I going to take arguably the biggest upside swing in the draft outside of the top 3 guys, where I take this 6'9", incredible playmaking, high feel, point forward, wing, jumbo point guard, whatever you want to classify him as, and believe that I can develop the shot and work with the feel, the IQ, and the playmaking. At some point, that swing for me outweighs significantly a 7th guy in a rotation.
I completely agree. Didn't mean to go backwards, but I wanted to go back so we could go forward. But I agree. I think every draft has a different point of the draft in which you start battling an inner thought of, do I want a higher floor or do I want to swing? Like, is this the range where this is like, okay, I'm ready to swing here because the value is intriguing. I think Yegor is going to be the start of that conversation this year of like questions in a big swing, but if it connects, oh my gosh, or I might have a higher floor guy that's, in our Discord today, I was like, at one point, if you had Yegor and Jace Richardson on the board and you're outside the top 10, what direction would you go? If one measured higher than, if I said Yegor measured 6'9" and Jace measured 6'2", and I said, I think that's a good debate. And it's very specific on who is picking, but yeah, I don't have a lot of notes for VJ Edgecombe because he's just awesome. And I love him. Yeah. So I don't really know. Would you take him in front of Ace Bailey?
No.
Okay, good man. Moving on. And I love VJ.
No. I have him at 6. And I probably couldn't see myself taking him over Trey or Kasparis unless I'm a handful of teams.
Out of the top teams, you can pick any team you think is just the perfect fit for VJ Edgecombe. Which would you do?
I don't even know. Charlotte.
Okay. There you go.
Philly's kind of fun too.
No, I don't want him going to Philly.
Well, I know, but him, McCain, Maxey is kind of fun. He gives them what they don't have. Yeah, probably Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte. Him and McCain would be very fun together because they're just kind of bulldogs. No Slater Maxey. Okay, go ahead.
No.
We're off the rails.
Anything else on Tech?
Tech's fun, man. I just think they got some solid guys.
He's a this year guy.
I think he should be.
Probably.
I think
numbers.
I'm getting ready to catch up on his stuff. This is my favorite time of the year because I get caught up on everything, but he's just done some really impressive stuff this year. And I kind of think we always underappreciate those guys that are just like, they're an absolute beast on the boards.
Yeah.
And I think we as evaluators are like, well, okay, what else? Like, what's the next flavor of the month? Like, it's like, well, this one was really good. Like, and I think maybe we just underappreciate what JT's doing this year. Like, he's trying to stretch the floor, but it's not his game. But I think he's just trying to showcase people like, I'm working on it. But he is just a bad man around the basket. So I don't know. Excited to catch up on this stuff.
No,
I mean, am I wrong there, Metcalf? Like, are you struggling with that? It's a weird player, to like fall in love with, unless it's like you're a freak of nature athlete too, where I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm all in. Like, kind of freed coming out of Morehead Stadium. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy rocks.
Yeah,
but
that's a wild time to be alive.
Yeah, wasn't it? Seems like it's 80 years ago.
So I feel like there aren't like really any stars outside left in the kind of conference in terms of an NBA draft standpoint, except for Carter Bryant, who is fringe there. I think he's the biggest kind of upside name, best prospect to keep an eye on for Arizona. I think they're up by like 10 right now. On Kansas, they're playing. Arizona should be in the tournament regardless, but on that team, Carter Bryant is the biggest name to keep an eye on. I still really, really like his game. I hate how they've used him all year. And then KJ Lewis I'm struggling with, but he might just end up having to return. And then on this Kansas team, they'll likely be in. Talk about putting up a stinker this year. Just kind of fringe guys at best. Flory Badunga is probably the biggest name to keep an eye on, but then guys like Zeke Mayo, Rylan Griffin, KJ Adams as potential X10 guys.
Yeah, Kansas team, it seems like such a bad year, and you look up and you're like, oh, they're 21-11. We were just so used to them being dominant, but prospect wise, it has been a rough year. It seemed we thought it was going to be weird coming into the year because I was like, this is an island of misfit toys you're trying to put together. You're really hoping, and I thought Rylan Griffin was going to take hopefully like a big step. He just didn't. Badunga, I don't know if he's a this year guy. I think he needs to go back. He shouldn't. Carter Bryant, yeah, he'll be the. It's notable that there's a lot of first round buzz still.
Yeah.
When you ask around, like that's usually
I've gotten really mixed feedback from NBA scouts too. So his eval seems to be kind of all over the place.
Yeah, he's in my top 5 of guys I'm paying close attention to throughout the pre-draft process. Like, I don't know which way it's going to go. It's either going to be he looks fantastic and some team's going to try to sneaky draft him at like 14 because they just are like, he had an awesome workout. We don't want anyone to know about it. Or he's going to go back for another year. I feel like he's not going to go back, but I don't like how Arizona's used him either because he's good.
Yeah.
Better than the older guys. Anything else?
Just a couple other teams to just guys to keep an eye on, not necessarily stars, but from Iowa State, they'll be in, lost to BYU today. Tamin Lipsey, probably not. Keyshawn Gilbert, Milan Mamsilovic. I don't think any of those 3 guys are necessarily this year. Josh Jefferson and Curtis Jones, I really like as potential kind of second round guys. And then from West Virginia, Javon Small has been fantastic this year. Jonathan Powell as a next year guy, Hansberry probably as a next year guy, and then Toby Okani has just kind of shown some interesting potential X10 stuff.
I forgot to tell you, I have a sleeper for next year that is rapidly climbing my ranks that we haven't talked since I was at the BYU Arizona game. Henry Vassar,
yeah,
in person was way more impressive than I wanted it to be. Like very, very fluid. Very like I was like, oh my gosh! Like,
should we just start putting like first round grades on anyone who's on Arizona's bench?
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. But he was just in warm-ups way more fluid on the court. I was just very, very impressed. Like I think he could have a very big year next year. Just looks very confident. And I think he just put up a huge number against maybe it was Arizona State or something. But yeah, that's another one. Iowa State's I love their team. I don't know about prospect wise for the draft. I feel like a lot of guys that should go back. Jefferson's been playing good recently again. Like
he's had a very good year, especially
I still love Curtis.
Year.
Yeah, Curtis Jones. I still love, but I probably love him as like a 2-way guy. So yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, let's take our last ad break, and then we will move on to the rest of the conferences. All right, moving on to the Big Ten. Biggest name is from Michigan State. They play Oregon on Friday. Drace Richardson, he has been absolutely fantastic. We just recorded an episode on him a couple weeks ago, right after he had a really brutal 2.5 week stretch. And he has been absolutely terrific down the stretch here, showing a little more, knocking down shots, and the playmaking starting to pop a little more than it was before. On that Oregon team, and the other side of the matchup, Jackson Shellstad, Kwame Evans, their names, not this year, guys, but Drace Richardson is the marquee guy.
Would just really not. Are you selling your Kasparis Yakachonis stock too?
No, I just had a mental break.
I'm kidding.
And forgot that Illinois and Michigan were also in this conference.
I don't know. It's okay because I don't remember putting everyone. You know, I don't know who's in any conference anymore. You could tell me Arizona's in 3 conferences. I believe you at this point. No, I think Jace is the shiny golden ticket right now. He is cooking. He's on fire. He's been fantastic. People are placing him in very interesting ranges. I think he deserves to be going up. He's probably flirting in that lottery conversation right now. I think he's a top 20 guy for sure.
Yep.
Where do you have him? I haven't caught it. I'm catching up on his stuff tonight. I'm very excited about it. I said enough's enough. Let's dance. I'm gonna watch everything.
I have him at 18.
That's a good range. Good for you. I'm really proud of you.
He's been really good, and like these last like 2 to 3 weeks, we're starting to see more of like actual point guard play. And for him to kind of be the stabilizing presence on that team is really, really impressive. The shooting and the kind of off-ball scoring has been fantastic all year. The floater, the at-rim finishing, the ability to do attack closeouts, that's always been there. But, his statistical profile for the vast majority of this year has been that of a shooting guard or an off-ball scorer. And at 6'1", 6'2", that's kind of a tough profile. So it's always just more of how much more playmaking is there. He's always been a smart passer, but can he create for others? He's starting to show a little more physicality and kind of craft, out of the pick and roll, snaking stuff too. He's just been really, really excellent. So I kind of have a fun video project that I'm going to be working on where I want to go back to more of his high school stuff and kind of see how much more playmaking there was then and compare it to this year. But in that, I think it was that Michigan game. He had he had like a high pick and roll where he like snaked through, collapsed the entire defense, off balance, kick out to a wide open three. It was incredibly impressive. And it's like, cool, give me that like 5 times a game. And he's just been really, really good.
Yeah, he's been awesome. When we did that episode, I think we were very fair with what we said. I don't think anything we said was off. But it was unbelievable timing with the next game. Just went berserk. I mean, you even texted me. You're like, "Of course," and I was like, "Yeah, of course." So it was just funny.
We always root for these guys. And
it's awesome. I was like, "Hell yeah!" I mean, we root every time. We're rooting for like, especially this time of the year. We're always rooting like, could someone get hot? So that it's just like, oh, that gets more exciting at the top. Like, and Jace is hot. A couple other names. I mean, we can go to next team if you're done with Jace, but I have moved him up too. I'm excited to see what he measures at, but I still think this is a really good player that does a lot of things at a good level. It's just I want to see if something can be unlocked as like, hey, here's the NBA skill and everything else is pretty solid. So
neither of us doubted that he was an NBA guy. It's just, is the playmaking at a point where he can be a this year NBA guy?
I've never called someone a first round pick and been like, never mind. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
The big matchup in the Big Ten tournament, though, on Friday is Maryland versus Illinois. Two biggest names to keep an eye on: Derek Queen from Maryland, obviously, and then Kasparas Giacošonis from Illinois. Will Riley also skyrocketing up that list.
Yes.
And then on Illinois as well, a couple guys. Tomislav Ivicic has some fans, really skilled passer, kind of intriguing big man. And then Miraz Johnson, I think could be one of the better bigs in next year's class. But he came back against Iowa today after breaking his wrist like a month ago, and he rocks.
Tomislav had a heck of a game today. He had 19, 10, and 6. He's kind of a fun. I don't know where to put him because I feel like there's a lot of talent there, and he like might have a legit shot of being like you look up in 5 years and you're like, man, he's a really nice rotation big.
Yeah.
He's a big man. I mean, he's 7'1", 230. Like, I don't know. I'm just intrigued there. Will Riley, man, thank you for cooking lately. I mean, it's so much fun that he is the Joker right now of this class of like, oh, he's back. Like, where are you at with him? Like, do you think
first round?
Declares easy?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too. I mean, him and Jace are the ones I've been puzzling with. So those are like the next two on my list of like, I'm doing all of this film. So
like very, very different player, but I think you just give him like the Peyton Watson treatment of
without the defense, but just the
I'm not saying they're the same players at all.
Yeah, just
you're
red shirt
incredibly skinny. Yeah, just be around the team, get stronger. Here's our strength and conditioning program. Here's our culture. Here's our expectations. Meet them for next year, and then you can start getting minutes.
Like, he won't be on the board, but like if Boston was there, I'd be like, oh my gosh, yes, take Will Riley.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hell yeah, take him. and do exactly what you're talking about, or if like Denver got him, or like, yeah, someone would be smart. Brooklyn should take him.
Yeah,
that's who should take him. Is Brooklyn,
and they could even play him too.
Yeah, play him and just be like,
"Hey, you're going to suck this year.
You're okay. Going to play. We're not going to win a lot. You're going to play. Like, yeah, it's okay. Just, yeah. I mean, I every time I'm seeing him on offense, I'm like, I get it, man. Like, there's some smoothness to his game at that size. Like, that's a dude that looks legit 6'10".
Yeah,
looks maybe even bigger. Like, he's a tall, but he's skinny. So, but he's been cooking lately. I think he's averaging like 17 a game in his last stretch or something. So, I don't know. I'm intrigued. Casper's, where are you at?
5.
I mean, I'm mentally. There's a lot of people out there, and I'm keeping track of everyone. They're selling the stock.
Cool. I'll buy.
I've been buying.
He's so good.
I mortgaged the condo, the house, no ceilings. Buying as much stock as I can get.
Yeah, I'm not what you. How many freshmen tonight have we talked about going through like month-long slumps and then playing out of it? Like his slump happened recently. It's okay. Shooting slumps happen. The way he operates the offense, his footwork, his craft around the rim, the way he prepares is shockingly different than basically anyone else I've seen.
You saw him in person, and I forget it. We've never talked about this on the pod. Wow. Well, maybe I talk about it off the air. So you loved his pregame stuff, huh?
It was stuff that I see from NBA guys. Like when
I love games. I love that. That stuff matters, by the way. I've seen a lot of guys that don't care about warm-ups, and their NBA career went the same way. I'm still buying as much Casper's as I can. So I got nothing else on the Big Ten, and let's see. Oh, your boys. What am I talking about? Your boys.
We got the Michigan Wolverines. Danny Wolf, potential first rounder. A little up and down, but he's playing point guard and he's a center, so they're getting nothing out of their guard. Yeah, he will be, but they've lost like 3 out of their last 4 or something. They've been struggling, but he's the big name to keep an eye on. They play the winner of Purdue and USC, who was just tied at half. Purdue, no one really this year. Braden Smith rocks. Miles Colvin and Fletcher Lawyer have kind of been stinkers this year. USC, Wesley Yates has been skyrocketing upwards. It wouldn't shock me if he ends up kind of sneaking in to this draft. I still think he should be a next year guy, but USC has to kind of win out here. And then Desmond Claude and St. Thomas are the other 2 kind of sleeper names on USC to keep an eye on if they do move on. And then just one more name on Michigan. I know Vlad Golden's been playing well, but long-term, their point guard, LJ Kaysen, he's a freshman. Really, really intriguing guy who I think is going to play a big role for them next year.
I need to watch their stuff because every time I'm like, why doesn't Vlad Golden get any more love? Because he just is a beast and he produces. So I'll probably ask you off the air what you really think. But I just am intrigued with a lot of those guys. USC has a lot of players I really liked as sleepers last year that transferred to the same team. And I was like, this usually doesn't work well when you have a lot of those same guys all coming together at once. It feels like if they had like a number one alongside all of them, they would be fantastic. They would be like so much better. So Wesley Yates is a scrimmage guy, you're saying? I love scrimmage guys. I want to do something about the scrimmage guys at the combine because I think those are legit things. We need to do like an award or something, but scrimmage guys are legit.
It would not shock me if a team like tries to get him to shut down and like
I love
early on guarantees that they'll take him top 40 or something. And
promise season.
I'm just saying, I think he should return for his sophomore year, but he's been really, really good these last couple weeks. And then just a couple other names here, just to finish up Big Ten. I'm not convinced that I don't think any of these guys are this year guys, but Wisconsin, John Tanji and Nolan Winter. Nolan Winter's the more intriguing one. They play UCLA on Friday. Eric Daly's probably the only kind of guy to keep an eye on long term. And then Indiana's kind of on the bubble. They're probably out, but then if they do make it into the tournament, keep an eye on Mackenzie Mbako, Miles Rice, Kaden Carlisle. I don't think any of them are this year guys, but if you're looking for potential prospects to keep an eye on, those would be the names.
Completely agree. What else you got?
Moving on to the Big East. Let's see here. The biggest star, Liam McNeely from UConn. They're playing Villanova while we're recording. Let me see what the score is. It's a barn burner, 2-0 UConn. So they're blowing out Villanova here. Liam McNeely's a big name to keep an eye on. Probably a lottery guy. And then Alex Caravan is the other one for UConn. Been playing better. Kind of mixed feelings across the team with him. Villanova, again, they're playing. So if you're watching a second screen, Eric Dixon is the only potential name to keep an eye on, shooting the crap out of the ball this year. They're on the bubble. So
Heck of a year for Eric Dixon. I think he's got a shot to get drafted still, but I think he needs a little bit of a pre-draft process to cook a little bit. I'll say RJ Lewis of St. John's is catching my attention.
Yep.
I want to see some more of him. Every time I watch them, he just pops. Marquette, Cam Jones, really want to see. I love Chase Ross. I think he needs another year. Creighton, as usual. Ryan Kalkbrenner, the giant.
Paul today.
He had a boring game today. He had 32 and 9 on 14 to 21. He was 2 for 4 from deep.
He also had 5 blocks.
Oh, had 5 blocks too. I'm sorry, and 2 assists. That went to double overtime though. But he played 47 minutes. He's that big, and he played 47 minutes. This economy, I just think this is the fun. Big East is always fun. St. John's has been cooking. They've been outstanding. I want to get. I feel like I'm gonna travel down a rabbit hole because RJ Lewis is puzzling me. I know Jam has been hyping him a little bit behind the scenes. I like RJ. He makes a couple plays sometimes that I'm like, man, it's an NBA type of play right there. So
he's got a nasty mid-range game.
Mm-hmm.
Questionable outside shot. Not exactly a winning mix for potential role player. So
does he have an NBA skill?
Yeah, it's mid-range scoring. But it's like, all right, what team's gonna let him do that?
Analytics.
The corner 3 has been okay. If he can get that there, he's fun. I kind of like him early second round. Cam Jones, I think, is the only other name that could probably sneak into the first. Although Kalkbrenner potentially. Deep cut on Creighton to keep an eye on for next year. Jackson McAndrew on St. John's. I think Zuby Ejiofor has been really fun. And then Chase Ross on Marquette. I just can't quit.
Big Chase Ross guy.
Can't help
Thrill to Chase.
Anything else on Big East, or you good for mid-majors?
No, that was I mean, we could do the best of the rest. I mean, we really record time on getting through the Big East. What else you got?
All right, moving on to mid-majors. I'm just going to fly through these.
Yeah, great. Fantastic.
Let you pivot off of or just interrupt me whenever.
Thank you.
Biggest star to kind of keep an eye on. They were playing while we're recording, but St. Joseph's, Rasheer Fleming, to get into the tournament, they have to win their conference tournament. If they win tonight, they play Dayton on Friday. There's like very legit top 20 buzz with Rasheer Fleming. I've also had a couple scouts ask me, I don't get it. What does he do? Which perplexed me.
I've gotten those comments a lot about a lot of names right now. It's so much fun. So this is the best time of the year. It's shocking names.
The other one, Nick Clifford from Colorado State.
Yeah.
They're on the bubble. They might have to kind of keep winning, but they play Nevada again Thursday night. I believe they're about to tip off right now.
They're up 6.
Up 6 right now.
I'm here. I'm here all day.
So Nick Clifford, I would take him top 20 and sleep happy about it. On Nevada, I really like Kobe Sanders. I do too. Fun. He's
very intrigued.
I'm not seeing any love with him, but potential second round guy. San Diego State on the bubble. They got eliminated today by Boise State. Miles Bird is the big name. Again, kind of mixed feelings on him. Really streaky down the stretch here. Got off to an awesome start. Really great defensive playmaker. We'll see. And then Magoon Gawath. So much fun. Long-term guy. If they make the tournament, 2 names to keep an eye on. On Boise, Tyson Dagenhart, potential kind of 2-way guy. They're on the bubble, but again, kind of likely have to win out. But they do play New Mexico on Friday, which should be a really fun matchup with Donovan Dent, who might be one of the, if not the best playmakers in the country. The scoring numbers have been so much better this year, too. Kind of small, questionable shooting. Just a joy to watch play, though. On UAB, they have to win out to make it in. They play on Friday. Yaxel Lendeborg, really toolsy, skilled, kind of big, potential top 45 guy. If he has a big tournament run here, if they do get in somehow, wouldn't shock me if he dominates workouts, kind of sneaks into more of that top 40, top 30 range. On Tulane, Cam Williams, more of a future-looking guy. They have to win out as well, but they play FAU on Friday. Really like Caleb Banks as well on Tulane. Fun, kind of toolsy forward. FAU, Baba Miller, Caleb Glenn, some deep cuts. And then North Texas, real deep cut. They have to win out. They play on Friday, though. Brennan Lorient, I've really enjoyed some of his film. That's all I got.
Well done. You know I don't like interrupting, so that was just like, all right, I'll let you go. I will say, Donovan Dent, I told this to Metcalf before I recorded. He is the one name I've always liked his game. I went and looked back at his numbers today, and I was just jaw picking up off the floor, impressed. I've watched his film a couple times this year, and I'm always like, gosh, I love him. I'm tired of overthinking it. I'm putting him in my top 60 again. He's back. Welcome back, Donovan Dent. I can't stand the guys I've got in the 55 to 60 range. So Donovan Dent's back in, and I'm happier about it. He's averaging 21.9 points in his last 20 games with 6 assists, and he's shooting almost 50, 35, 84. I don't care if he's small. He's 6'2", 175 pounds, whatever you want to say. The dude is a bucket. The dude is one of the best passers probably in the country.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm back in on Donovan Dent. I bought stock. Get me on the stock game. I don't know, but we had a good discussion about this before. He's been so impressive. They could go on a little run. You never know. This is a guy another guy that should contest the waters. I would not want to play against him.
No. I
would not want to work out against him. I would very much want to be on his team in the scrimmages.
Yes.
Very, very much. So, I don't know. It's just Donovan Dent, man. Hell of a year. I mean, he's had a couple holy crap games. He had 40 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists one night. He had a 30-burger one night. He had a 34-point game. Had a couple, he's had 4 games with double-digit assists. And then a couple nine assists. Dude's just a gamer.
Yeah.
We need to give him a little bit more respect. So I'm watching him. And everybody else he listed just rocks. Nick Clifford's he punched the clock today. He's had 19.63 and 3 stocks at halftime. Just, this kind of, hey, another day of the office. Let me grab the hard hat and lunch pail. So that's all I got.
All right. Well, we've been gone for a while, so we got to catch up. But we got to do No Ceilings Green Room, most exclusive club in the basketball world. No more than 14 guys get in. It is not our lottery rankings. It is based on production, potential, vibes, upside, vibes, all that good stuff. Currently in the green room, Cooper Flagg, Trey Johnson, Derek Queen, Dylan Harper, Kasparis Yakashonis, Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, Asa Newell, Kaman Malawach. In line, Rasheer Fleming, Danny Wolf, Carter Bryant, Miles Bird, Thomas Sorber, Jace Richardson, Con Knipple, Liam McNeely. Anyone need to get booted?
No, you kicked Asa out.
No, you
backed down. You backed down.
I gave him
a
moratorium or a probationary period, and he passed with flying colors.
I don't know about you can nominate someone. I think Miles Bird needs to get out of line.
He's got to go. Agreed.
Yeah.
I would say
so he can hit something with an outside shot.
Sorber as well.
Sorber's hurt. Got to go. We got to clean up the line. We're getting to the big boy time of the year. We got to clean this up.
Carter Bryant, I think has to
Carter Bryant's got to go. I love him. Got to go. Not ready yet. Is Jaeger in?
Jaeger's not even in line.
No, good. He's not going to be there. He's blackballed.
He's staying at home.
Good. He wasn't invited in the first place.
So you're good with
What do you
everyone who's in. You're good.
Yeah.
With who's
Did you have anyone? Because sometimes you nominate someone, and I'm like, oh yeah.
No, I
think everyone sounded correct.
agreed.
Like it should be still in there.
I'm happy with him in, but I just want to ask, Ace Bailey.
Oh, I'm happy with him in.
All right, just making sure.
I will say, I'm a little biased because for everyone, I put 22 minutes of his offense and defense and playmaking highlights up on the YouTube channel. I had a very fun time with the defense.
Yeah,
there's very, very nasty, really good.
Yeah,
shot blocking, weak side help, love it. Like I was just like yes, and then some of the offensive stuff made me laugh in a positive way. So I'm biased. So if you want to have him out, I'm okay with it. I think him and Kasparis are hitting a little bit we're hitting our wall.
We've been here for hours.
We are so tired. We've been here. We got here when they opened.
Yeah.
We just want to get like some food. We ordered our food 2 hours ago. Still not here.
Blaming the support staff. Jesus.
Yeah. So I still have them in.
Okay, so in line, we have Rasheer Fleming, Danny Wolf, Jace Richardson, Con Knippel, Liam McNeely. I'm saying Jace Richardson should go in.
I'll say Jace should go in, and how the tables have turned.
Who would have thought we'd be here?
For those that know, you know. For those that know, you know.
Also, I want to nominate to go straight in. He was in earlier.
You have my attention.
He was getting a little drowsy. He had to head home or down the street, get a bite to eat, get a little refresh, get an energy drink, and now he's back with a vengeance. Jeremiah Fears.
Oh, amazing! Is this our first time? No, is this the first time we've ever kicked someone out and brought them back?
No, we've done it before. I
don't know.
We did it with Klingon last year when he was hurt.
Oh, that's a good point. Yep, injuries always get you out and then get you back. Yeah, Fears, man, he's back. Who else? There's somebody else. Thank you, Norm, for said the latest Ace video was awesome. By the way, appreciate it. Been working really hard on those. They're always great time. I feel like it helps everybody out. We love the fans. Do it for the fans. We love the fans. I had one that I was going to nominate. Oh, I think Khan should get in.
Straight in.
Yeah. Well, no, he's in line.
He is.
Yes, I think he should get in. I mean, when he dropped 28 today, he's been playing good. The vibes are high for Khan.
I'm fine with it.
Now, I have
it may be a short stay.
I have a very ugly conversation to have with you right now.
Okay.
We do have an injury rule.
Oh.
This is a big rule. This is a big one.
Give him a little wiggle room. I'm going to give him. Let's see the severity of it. We can't kick him out on day of.
Well, we just kicked out Sorber for missing the rest of the year.
Yeah, but
he had flags and stayed in
surgery like 2 weeks ago.
Okay. We've got to make some rules in the offseason. Like, hey, these are the bylaws. If you're out for a month, you can't get in. I think he's going to be a game to game. Shire's going to come out tomorrow or something and be like, hey, we're going to take it game to game, day to day.
I'm fine with that. If it's
2 weeks.
Hey, he has to have surgery and he is going to be bedridden.
Surgery? Okay. So if you got to go get surgery, if you have to go to the doctor, if you have to get put under for an operation. Yeah. Okay. So Cooper rolled the ankle in the club. Doesn't want to leave.
Yeah, someone spilled their drink. He kind of wobbled on it a little bit. Yeah, and now he's just going back to his booth. Just taking it.
Just hobbling a little bit. There's a little.
He's taking it. Okay.
They got a round of drinks, and he's like,
floor. He's relaxing. Just like, what was that? That was weird. And just.
Do you think he got off the floor and then retied his shoes, even though he's not playing game? Like when you roll your ankle, you tie the shoes right away because he's like, hey, we still got a lot of night left.
Yeah, he's still having fun. Vibes are high. Vibes are fine. He's good.
Okay.
Okay,
It
Jesus,
wasn't. We
man
had to
rolls his
have this.
ankle, and fucking 12 hours later, you're like,
I'm
get
following
rid
the
of him.
rules. I'm following the rules.
Rules aren't equal
strict.
for everyone.
Okay.
All right. In line, we have Rasheer Fleming, Danny Wolf, Liam McNeely. Who else do you want to put there?
I don't know. You?
I have about 100 names I don't want to put there. I'm going to put Alex Condon in line.
That's a good one. I'll put Will Riley in line.
Okay.
If you're at some stretch, if you're almost averaging 20 a game, it's pretty hard not to put you in line. Now he's about 6'10", 120 pounds, so they might scare some people.
He'll have a light beer, and he'll be good for the night.
It'll be good, but so it could be. Is Kaspar's in the club? Yeah. Good.
Are you trying to boot Kaspar's?
No, I just wanted to remind everyone, like he's in there.
Yeah,
we're not budging.
I'm also going to throw JT Toppin in line.
Okay,
making an executive decision.
Now we're getting somewhere.
All right. Anyone else, or
I've only just begun. No. Give me 1 second. Murray Boyles?
Sure. The line is open to anyone. It's getting.
I'm trying to get guys that like, hey, if he's not in, when is he ever going to get in?
Well,
we also cleaned up a lot. We cleaned up.
ASO is at the front of the line for about 6 months, so
yeah, exactly. So
it's tough to get in. We don't just open the doors to anyone.
It's tough to get in. It really is. Anybody else? I think Joan Behringer's got so much buzz right now that he's like, I don't need the green room. I found another room.
He's just doing laps around the block instead. Man, Stojakovic off of just that game, but
he's down the street. He's around the corner, and he's like, hey, this place is fun, maybe we go to the green room and try to get in.
Guys in line are hearing about what Stojakovic allegedly did at the dive bar down the block, and they're like, did you hear about this?
Did you hear about this guy? That's a good one. I got nothing else.
All right, that's all I got. We went long today, covered a billion people. Thanks for everyone hanging out, watching live. Selection Sunday, we will be going live after the bracket post, after Selection Sunday show is up. We'll have winners, losers, top guys to, our favorite matchups to watch, all that good stuff. And then during the kind of first weekend of the tournament, we'll also be doing live shows later in the night, kind of reacting to the games going on, games that happen, biggest performances, all that good stuff. Come hang out. You can find it all on the No Ceilings podcast feed, obviously after the show, also on the No Ceilings YouTube channel as well. If you're watching those and hanging out with us, we really appreciate it. It does wonders for us, helps us continue to do all of this awesome stuff that we love doing for you guys. We're rapidly approaching 13,000. So if you are watching, hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Rucker's been starting to push out the season, the end of season highlight videos for guys. So I know everyone, that's always a favorite of everyone's. I have a handful of film school stuff that I'm working on too. So getting off my lazy butt, getting those out soon, hopefully as well. Have some fun stuff with Jace Richardson, Jeremiah Fears, Trey Johnson, and others coming up. But if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and a 5-star rating. Until next time, see ya.